Wherever you turn in Nigeria, there's something political or in the polity to binge on. Our responsibility is quite simple, to help you make sense of it by bringing you the top of the highlight of all of them right here on Lunchtime Politics at midday. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Let's get started with the headlines. Department of State Services kicks as court sentences 2 Ansaru commanders to life imprisonment. The service insists capital punishment for the convicts for their heinous crimes are nothing. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, honors invitation by the ICPC over investigations about the controversial Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. Concerns trail renewed face-off between Dangote refinery and petroleum marketers. Facilities decision to sell fuel in dollars. Marketers suspend loading as prices of PMS surge. Thanks again for joining us on the program. Clearly unhappy with the verdict of the Federal High Court, the Department of State Services, DSS, is set to appeal the life sentence handed down to by the trial judge on 2 Ansaru commanders, Abubakar Abba, also known as Abu Bara, and his co-accused Mahmoud Usman. The secret police insists and announced that it will challenge the sentences, arguing that the life imprisonment was inadequate given the gravity of the offenses, especially the recent Orire abduction and beheading of a teacher by their men, to force government into negotiating to releasing these commanders. Abu Bara, who commands Ansaru Terror, an Al-Qaeda affiliate terrorist group, alongside his co-accused Mahmoud Usman, were arrested in May and July 2025. They were prosecuted for alleged terrorism by the Department of State Services. They was being sentenced to life in prison by Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court, Abuja, when they pleaded guilty to the 32-count terrorism charges brought against them by the DSS on behalf of the federal government.
Clients are sent to prison, especially when it's life imprisonment. However, this case is different. This is a matter where they were charged for 32 count charges. And the trial was about to commence when they eventually decided to opt for plea. They changed their plea to guilt. And we have no option. Actually, it's the discretion of the clients. When they made their decision that they wanted to change their plea, we had to equally advise them these are the possible consequences, the terms the offenses carry. So they insisted they want to change their plea. And when somebody changes his plea, the duty of the court is to apply the law, to give them the required sentences. And that's exactly what the court did. Even though we pleaded for a locutus, expecting a lesser sentence, believing that the court was going to give them like 20-year sentence. But the court gave them life imprisonment to run concurrently. Nobody is happy, but that's the law. Simple.
Well, the DSS has said, no, life imprisonment is a slap on the wrist, even though it's a pronouncement of court. They want the death sentence. And the fears of the is borders on the level of crime these men have committed. And the tendency, there could be a jailbreak somewhere and these guys escape again. So we're going to see what happens to that appeal by the Department of State Services. But let's move on to other stories where we can tell you that the House of Representatives has begun the consideration of an executive bill seeking to establish state police, with lawmakers indicating what they may adopt as a version already passed by the Senate, subject to minor adjustment. The proposal is part of the ongoing constitutional amendment process aimed at strengthening Nigeria's internal security architecture through a multi-tier policing system. The position was stated during the committee meeting in Abuja by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, who is also the chairman of the House Committee on Constitutional Review.
One is closing remark. State Police Bill remains one of the signature constitutional reform initiative of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Because, you know, the police structure in this country, he was one of the first people who, as a state governor, always advocated for multiple layered policing. as a strategic tool towards ending insecurity in Nigeria. And now being the president and also championing this bill goes a long way to prove that he is practicing what he preached. And as we have always argued, debated, presented, that though we are three arms of government, we are one government. There is a national objective. All we do is to key into it, especially when that national objective is for the interests of the people. And this time around, there is a national consensus that security needs to be on the front burner. The executive is keeping it on the front burner. You and I, who are from the legislature, we are here today, not because it's convenient for us to be here. We start our parliamentary days from Tuesday. But we are here because duty calls and time is of the essence.
Let's move from there to where the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, has honored the invitation of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and given his statement in the ongoing case involving the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. According to the statement by his lawyer, Jite Ogunye, in full cooperation with the ICPC acting as directed by the President, Femi Gbajabiamila appeared at the Commission at about 3 p.m. on Monday, July the 20th, 2026. Where he gave his testimony responding to questions accordingly and returned to his duty post. In the meantime, President Tinubu has directed an investigation be concluded and comprehensive reports submitted to him within 30 days. All right, I have two-pronged conversation today, and one has to do with this investigation. The other one has to do with what's playing out with the refiners and the retailers. So let's start with this issue around the investigations of the ICPC. Well, there are parts that are in court. We can only speak to the parts that have been talked about and reports that have been released by reporters concerning the ICPC. Let's bring in our guest, Mr. Chitanwala. Is an activist and also a lawyer. Mr. Nwala, thank you so much. I know I literally pulled you out of wherever you are. Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. All right, let's talk about, now there are things that are sounding like inconsistencies, and I would like your legal mind to walk through it in your reasoning. When we first heard about this so-called fictitious or phantom committee, the first statement released by Mr. Bayo Nanuga, in that statement he said the man had deceptively opened a central bank account. Later we heard from, I think the attorney, no, not attorney general now, the accountant general's office, that he didn't open an account, that the process of opening an account was on. I think we are now hearing a new version that there was an instruction. So what do we really believe? It's like on this issue of opening an account, there are 2 to 3, almost 4 variations. Do you believe that anything is going to come out of this investigation after all?
First of all, what look at the thing on ground, these criminal victims, what about it? And I said, we you are selfish to get.
Yeah, Ms. Anwala, my apologies. I know you're talking, but I don't know what's wrong with the network. We'll try and see whether we can just get your audio instead and see what we can do with this. Because it's an important conversation because this is one of the most embarrassing scandals under this administration. There have been others, perhaps, but this is the Super Bowl of all the scandal if you ask questions around, because how did this man run this agency for 2 years, was able to get an account with the CBN, or in the process, whichever we want to believe anyway, he got a budgetary allocation in the presidency, not in the ministry, in the presidency, and he couldn't have acted alone. So that's why we're asking the question, and we'll continue to double down on that question, because it's difficult to believe that one man he had an office at the Federal Secretariat. Now we're hearing, I think the head of service, so from the reports we are reading, said that office, I think, was given to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. This man has staff. He met with diplomats. He even met with the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps. So something is not adding up, and we want to see the end of this. And I think what Nigerians would like to want to see is beyond the man, who else is involved? Even the oversight responsibility. Let me see whether I can get Mr. Nwala back. Mr. Nwala, can you hear me now? Mr. Chatham, can you hear me? Oh dear. The frustration that technology can bring. But maybe we'll get back to Ms. Nwala. Let's see whether we can have a second guest talk about the refineries that have been, so let's bring clarity to the next conversation. Well, we hope to reconnect with Mr. Nwala because that's also an important conversation. We understand that the Dangote refinery, for instance, has started selling petroleum products to retailers in dollars, and that has brought in some disagreement because now they have to source for dollars to be able to buy the product. He made a business decision. He operates in a free trade zone, so he can dollarize, he can sell in Naira. Section 109 of the PIA allows buying and selling in crude in Naira or in dollars. So it's a statutory law, an act of parliament. But this whole thing has caused trouble or disagreement between the retail. We even understand we had the Petron president this morning on our sister program. He said they have not loaded for the last 6 days. So how have we been getting petroleum products? Our marketers now importing. So what exactly is going on? Let me bring in my guest. Mustafa Zama is a national vice president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. Mr. Zama, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be on this program.
Fantastic. So Petron has spoken. I wish I could get the track, but let me just rephrase what Mr. Billy Gillis-Harris told us this morning. He said, look, they want to work with the Dangote refinery, but with this new move in the need to source for dollar to get these products, I don't know whether it's a pricing problem or it's a policy problem. However, what he told us is that for their members, for the last 6 days, they've not lifted products. What is happening? Is it the same story with IPMAN?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to correct the designation you gave me. I am not the vice president. I am the national operations controller of IPMAN.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead, please.
Secondly, yes, as regards to the sales of petroleum product in dollars as envisioned by Dangote Refineries Management, it is something that will not go well to the retailers, the marketers, and the citizens in general, and economy at of the country. But after that development, I believe the presidency has jumped in to address the matter, discuss, and see how best the sales of the product in Naira is going to be resumed. And of which I have a privileged information that the matter has somehow been resolved. Some people have even started paying in Naira. That's what's going on within the Dangote refinery for now.
You said it's not going to augur well for the... So where is the problem here? Is it that when it sells in... Because I want to ask on behalf of every lay person who perhaps doesn't understand jack about the industry and just wants to buy affordable petroleum product, whether it's diesel, fuel, or whatever it is. Where is the problem here? Is it the challenge of sourcing for dollars that is a challenge that the marketers are having a problem with? Or it is a problem of when you convert how much is selling to in Naira, there's no way they can sell for the prices Nigerians want them to buy from them?
Well, first and foremost, when he insists on purchase of the product in dollars, it will seriously have effect on the value of the Naira. As you can see, within the last 1 week or so, with that his announcement, you must have seen the depreciation of value of the Naira.
Hello?
You must have seen the depreciation of the Naira within last week. If it continues, all marketers will be busy purchasing for foreign exchange to purchase the product in dollars, which ultimately will have effect on depreciation of the naira. The coming of Dangote refinery has really helped in helping to stabilize the naira. So if Dangote insists on supplying products in dollars only, we will go back to depreciation, and it will not go well to the economy, it will not go well to the citizenry, and it will have a multiplier effect on all items, consumables within the country. So it's good that the presidency has intervened to make him see reason and continue selling the product at Nigerian naira.
So let's look at it from his point of view, because this conversation, we must find a solution one way or the other as a country, because this impacts on all of us. So he's supposed to get between 15 to 18 cargoes of crude to be able to refine in the capacity. I understand it's even almost more than 650 now. So he gets less than 50% of that, sometimes even 40% from NNPCL at premium. So he has to source for others everywhere around the world. So on one hand, he may be buying in naira in Nigeria. On the other hand, he's buying in dollars from abroad. So reconciling those numbers, I don't know how he does it. Not to make excuses for him, but do you see where he's coming from, or is there a specific reason he gave for now changing to say, since the law allows naira or dollar, okay, that's for crude, and I'm operating in a free trade zone, is there any reason he gave that is admissible, that now there needs to be an appeal for him to understand the impact of this on the currency and on the economy?
Well, I'm not in a position to give you the details as regards to why he decided to start selling the product in dollar. I believe Dangote Refinery's management will be in a better position to know that. And from the discussion they have with government, I believe government is in a better position to find a solution to whatever reason that made him to take that decision, which I believe they have been able to overcome and start selling the product to marketers in naira.
I don't know whether in passing you mentioned it and I missed it because of the audio challenge. Did you say the biggest problem with marketers in choosing not to lift anymore is sourcing for dollars to be able to buy the product? Is that the challenge?
It's not only a challenge to marketers. It's a challenge to the economy.
No, I will get that. I'm talking specifically to marketers because I understand how this thing works. The reason why our currency was doing quite well in terms of stability, because it's still pretty high compared, primarily 3 to 4 reasons. One is because we rebalanced our reserve, and our reserve is doing pretty well, 51 billion. We rebalanced it, and then this import substitution that Dangote Refinery has brought to bear, that we don't have to pressure the naira, the dollar, from the CBN. And of course, the dollar itself taking a huge beating in the last 1 or 2 years in terms of percentage drop of the dollar. So these are some of the economic factors that has played out. So we understand the economic element. I'm talking about your element as marketers.
Well, that element is also there as marketers, getting the availability of the dollars to purchase the product as at when due. Because the process of securing the dollars at the official exchange rate within the banking sector takes time and a lot of procedures, which at the end of the day will affect the supply chain and the distribution chain of the petroleum product supplies. So I don't think it is good for the nation, it is good for the citizenry, and it is not good also for the marketers.
As we wind down, what is this? I heard you say the federal government is intervening. The intervention perhaps means that it should start selling in naira. Is that the position that the marketers also want, and this will not have any issue? Because if this continues, we may have perhaps queues back on our streets.
Well, that is the position of the marketers as well. Getting the product at Nigerian naira is better, and it smoothens the process of acquiring and getting the product lifted in the refineries to be distributed to various retail outlets across the country.
So finally, sir, is there a chance, the oil price is about $58 per barrel, just in 30 seconds, is there a chance if it stays this way, are we going to see a drop or an increase? I know it's almost sounding naive because it was 1.3, I bought 1.250 yesterday. That's the same amount I bought when it was over $100. Any hope of it coming down?
Well, there is every tendency that it will come down, provided the flat rate of the crude is coming down. But unfortunately, it seems the flat rate is going off again. It has come down to as low as $73 per barrel. But within the last 10 days, you must have seen the crisis in the GCC countries has restarted, and it has gone to as high as $90 per barrel. So that, in a nutshell, is not good for the marketers, for the citizenry, and the consumers in general, because it will continue to go off as the flat rate is going off. So we pray and hope that the prices of the flat rate is going to come down.
Yes, I'm looking at where I used to check oil prices. Brent is now $90.35. That's $90.35, and WTI is $83.50. So it's actually going up. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. Mustafa Zama is the National Controller of IPMAN, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
We'll take a short break. I'll bring back Chitanwala on this issue of this phantom agency. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's bring in Mr. Chitanwala. We had him just before we had network distortion, talking about the Gbajabiamila Miller, the Chief of Staff to the President, has honored the invitation to the issue of the phantom, or fictitious as they call it, agency led by Mr. Adeyemi, who is now in police custody and is facing court processes as also investigation by the ICPC. Mr. Chitanwala, so I was talking about asking you whether, because of the discrepancies and inconsistencies, even from presidency and other agents of government, is there anything that can come out of this whole investigation?
Frankly speaking, I really do not think that anything can come out of this particular investigation. Because first of all, why I'm raising questions with respect to ICPC. Don't forget that the ICPC is a part of this administration. And one would naturally expect that the presidency would ask the chief of staff to step aside for proper investigation. But from the look of things, the presidency is not interested in that. The president has directed the ICP to investigate the matter and possibly take certain actions. But to be fair, we have seen circumstances and situations like this happen before in this country, where even that of the former Minister for Women Affairs, Betty, is it Betty? Is it Minister of Women Affairs or thereabout?
Humanitarian Affairs
was involved. We also saw that of yes, the Neji also. We also saw the same situation happen with Chris Neji recently, and we saw how this whole matter ended. We have seen a situation where continuously we have these investigations being carried out, and at the end of the day, they just kill it and everything dies off. Now, the Chief of Staff of the President has been seriously indicted in this particular matter, and Mr. Adeyemi has been insisting and saying that this man is involved. And from the look of things, this ministry was not, you can't even, it's even sad that we're even referring to it as a fake ministry because they created it themselves. And honestly, there are other agencies that are like this too, existing in this country, but because they have not had issues within themselves, so probably this scandal has not actually come out to the fore. But what we are saying is that if the presidency wants to show some level of transparency in all of this, the chief of staff to the president has to step aside for proper investigation. But if we continue to insist that the chief of staff should remain there as chief of staff, while this investigation is going on, what confidence would we as Nigerians have that these issues, that the chief of staff will not actually meddle and interfere with the investigation process as it is. So for me, it's a sad situation that we're even having this conversation as a nation, that under our nose for 2 years, we saw agency exist, carry itself and carry on activities without it being detected until they had financial issues among themselves. It's a sad situation for us as a people.
Just because of time, let me throw in another issue that is very concerning now. That I don't know how the lawyers view this, because this is your territory. I covered the activities in River State, where part of when Nyesom Wike was governor. So I know firsthand what a judge's quarters that's built by Nyesom Wike looks like. I have entered those quarters. I'm sure you know the one in Aguma quarters, and then the one the Court of Appeal, somewhere around OGRA. I know all of these places. And entering there covering, I can tell you that all that is required for you to come with is just your clothes, because everything is provided for, literally everything. So it's a dream home for anyone. So, and the compound is very beautiful with sporting facilities and all of that. So Nigerians understand what we're talking about here. So, but the question I ask is, that it's been criticized that why, because judges are human beings, why is the executive building quarters for judges? He's done it in River State. He's now doing it, he has done it in Abuja. I think I saw a video, stand to be corrected, where the Akwa Ibom State governor is also building judges' quarters. And then I saw on our platform where I understand some millions of naira have been earmarked by the, I think, Imo State government to build judges' quarters. Why is this craze for judges' quarters a thing?
You know, the truth of the matter is that the judiciary is the hallmark of any nation. And I keep also telling people that the judiciary is even more important than the Constitution, because the Constitution empowers the judiciary to interpret the laws, to interpret the Constitution. And when the Constitution gives you that particular power, there is a certain thing which will become powerful than the Constitution, because whatever you say is the law, that becomes the law. So that is why these politicians have realized the importance of the judiciary, and that is why they are now running after building houses for judges. We are continuing to criticize this particular step by the politicians, because look at it. Look at the federal high court, look at the state high courts, and look at even down to the Supreme Court. You agree with me that the Minister of the FCT has lots of matters he has serious interest in, yet he's building houses for these justices. And you keep asking yourself, when you're telling me that they will not be compromised and all that, then why do we even have the Judicial Service Commission? Why do we even have the NJC? These officers are supposed to take care of, or are supposed to take care of the judges. But no, we have left that in the hands of deputy ministers. We have left that in the hands of the state governors. Now, let me tell you what sad thing Minister Wike did when he was governor of River State. The judges who did not get houses, he gave them 150 million naira in lieu of a house. And these things happen in our faces. Yet we said nothing about it. Yet we allow this to try. And we say the judiciary is independent. You can't get the judiciary is independent. The judiciary will continue to do things to undermine its independence. And this is a sad situation for us as a people.
As a matter of fact, we don't know how much Nyesom Wike spent in Rivers and Abuja. We know the earmarks from Imo State. We don't know how much Akwa Ibom is standing, if that's true as well. But if the giver is given, what about the taker? Can't the judiciary say we don't want in 30 seconds?
No, anyway. Of course, see, the judiciary can actually say they don't want. But you know, most times in Nigeria today, certain persons who do not do their bidding have been blacklisted and actually made to suffer within the judiciary. We have seen this happen on several occasions. Why those who continue to do their bidding keep getting promotion and all that?
Ms. Anwala, my apologies. We're totally out of time. Cheta Anwala, legal practitioner, thank you. And that's it on the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeffrey Zama. Bye-bye.